Welcome back, 2023 NXL Sunshine State Major here on GoSports.com. I'm Matty Marshall. Blessed to have the legend himself, Ryan Greenspan from San Diego Dynasty. They're going to be playing this afternoon. He's going to help me call this set. It's going to be Tampa Bay Damage taking on NRG Elite and also Infamous and the Latin Saints.
Right on, Matty. Yeah, really excited to get this this event underway for Dynasty. You know, this afternoon bracket, it is toasty out there right now.
Yeah, it's going to be 80 degrees by the time you guys start playing.
Oh, I'm thinking it's 105 out there on the turf right now, Matty. But yeah, it's you know, a little toasty, but you know, it's doable. It's doable. It's hot for everybody, man.
So right now here, both teams looking pretty good here on this break. Both teams with the body at that crucial wedge structure. As I mean, I'm sure you've been watching a lot of the games, but what goes on in this wedge structure here, Ryan, really has a lot to do with who's winning and losing these points.
Yeah, Matty, you know, it's interesting too. So you see NRG Elite in there on your screen looking inside, and the damage player was kind of playing heads up, trying to get into this big brick. I think the big brick is, and it's definitely gotten a lot stronger, and it's weakened this wedge a little bit from the addition of this small cake here on the brick side on your screen right now, on the top of your screen. So looks like damage is heads up with this player.
I think it's Smith.
Yeah, with Smith is, and it looks like he's going to try to. He wants to get that guy off the field. He notices the pressure directly in front of him and wants to get him off the field. And a little bit of communication on NRG's side of the field. You know, they can definitely move out of that can, knowing that brick guy is kind of probing around quite a bit. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're watching constantly teams stack around 3 bodies to push towards the snake side, sometimes even 4, and just kind of keeping, depending. But a lot of times we're seeing that as the game plan with 1 body essentially towards the D side at that can. Now, not every play, because you can't be that predictable, but I'd say maybe 60% of the time we're kind of seeing the emphasis put on this side. It's just so easy to get lost if you are just joining us. You know, this snake structure is chaotic. You got to get crafty over here, but we keep seeing teams kind of lock up a lot of bodies in front of each other, and then like the linchpin will get pulled out, and everything just starts going down.
Yeah, and you see he was just trying a little too hard. But damage, oh, he does trade out right there with Chad in the middle. Or is that, sorry, Aiden Smith in the middle. But damage actually made a move off the break over onto the Dorito side. So it looks like it's evened up right now.
Yeah, damage in D2. Got a body behind him at the can. And, oh, but they come over the top. And
there's a shot from the can, coast to coast. You know, that's the thing. This corner is really powerful, really strong. Can shoot almost every spot on the field, but that also means that every spot on the field can shoot you.
100%.
And a lot of it is blind shots. Yes, so see, they're going to fill back out there because it's a great defensive position. And you're going to get him. You can kind of start catching guys because once you call, like, hey, snake corner's dead, and someone sneaks back in there, you're going to be able to shoot those spots again.
Yeah, it's a takeable spot off the break. I mean, I really haven't seen almost anyone get shot trying to make it to the back corner bunker on the snake side off the break, and then you can also fill out there. And yeah, it is a turret, but like you said, you have to be very crafty and consistently, you know, in your gunfight, you just have to be careful because you are going to be catching balls randomly from all over.
Yeah. If I ever find myself out there, I just kind of go onto the tape and I have a little checklist. I close my eyes and wrap around, start spraying across all of the spots that I cannot see over the top of, and then and then I tuck back in and wait for the paint to come back out at me and see if anybody is bit on that little.
So better field position currently for NRG Elite as they've won the war of attrition here on the snake side and now crawling all the way with Weaver. And Weaver keeps playing pretty well for NRG Elite. Keep seeing him in positions like this. He definitely plays aggressive and more often than not seems to be in the right spot at the right time. And he's going to have a, well, not anymore. He's going to be blocked out from that wedge.
Yeah, but if he crawls up into it again, he's going to get a kill right here. Oh, he just broke a ball, though.
Oh, inopportune moment to break a ball here for Weaver as he had the side of Horn's body. Horn's going to continue his attack. Horn's going to go into D4. Weaver also has a shot from this position, and then Horn knows that, so he goes past the 50-yard line, but he ends up getting, you know, so he was basically pushed into that move. And Weaver did his damage. Now Weaver, little tactical retreat, but Weaver's going to lose his back player.
It's a one-on-one now.
Yeah, we've only seen one other one-on-one.
Oh.
And I think that is Jacob Edwards out there, one-on-one extraordinaire.
Yeah, if Weaver had just kind of stayed gun up, he would have saved himself a little bit. And same with that, you know, the back guy didn't need to start shooting at Jacob. It's 2-on-1. You just kind of try to pin him down, but don't die.
Yeah,
This is, I think, the biggest
don't die
thing you want to really think about.
So Weaver goes gun dominant up and over the top of that brick. He's a real tall guy, so he can play over the bricks. And he's going to go back to the wedge. He's got a lot more to work with here. It's kind of
sure.
a tough one-on-one position. I think that's Jacob. It might be Lackey. They're similar builds, a little bit bigger here for if it is Jacob, but I think that is Jacob.
I think it's Jacob because he started in the back center.
Yeah, and then had to come over. I think Lackey might have been the one that got shot out of there. But regardless, Weaver has a ton of options, a whole field of options, and whereas Jacob's kind of tucked back there, stuck almost.
Yeah, and actually, you know, to be completely honest, there you go. So Jacob just made that move right there, and Weaver doesn't know where he is. So that's the other thing about when you're bouncing around so much, you tend to lose the bad guy, but you also tend to
you can get lost too.
Yeah, you get lost.
That's the concept in one-on-one. I mean, you want to be making a move where your opponent doesn't know that you made that move, so you get at least one go of it, one shot at him before he tucks back in. So Weaver's played 30 or 40 spots so far here as he's gone back and forth, but like you were saying, on his own transition, he allowed Jacob to get out of that spot and put himself in a much better gunfighting position at that tower. He's got a little bit more vision both ways from that position, and also has more options. He can then move up into the door, he can go to the Aztec, he can retreat to the back Aztec.
Yeah, and Jacob should be playing a little lower. You know, he can play low on his knees to block him out from most. Oh no, Weaver definitely went to a bad spot now.
Yeah, now Weaver is on he's a tall guy in a really tough spot, whereas Jacob has a much better gunfighting position from that tower than Weaver, and he does again. Jesus, Jacob Edwards is so good at one-on-one. He won the tournament for Tampa Bay Damage at the second event, going against Brandon Cornell, who's no slouch himself.
And look, he's out of paint right now too. Yeah, Weaver just got a little nervous with his abilities in that position right there, just because he was bouncing around, which was good. He just kept missing his shots, and I just think that he should have stuck with that game plan. Once he went down and got on his knees directly in front of him, you definitely don't want to be fighting up like that.
Yeah, he went from Weaver's well over 6 foot tall, and he was bouncing around with all those huge bricks and wedges, and then ended up going to the mini wall, where you got a real tall guy in a pretty small spot, and that just kind of went right into Jacob's plan. So now going to have Infamous playing their first point along with the Latin Saints, and also we got the Hall of Icons debuting here at this event, which has been your brainchild and something you've been pushing for here last year, putting it all together, so thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to do the live ceremony. We'll talk about it a little bit later after this on the next break.
Body coming off early for
Infamous,
yeah, it's
and Saints.
Russell back losing, getting shot off the break, but they do shoot a body from that D side, so 4-on-4.
And I'll tell you what, a late addition pickup from the Saints for Alex Keys. I think the Latin Saints are going to be a lot stronger this year than they have in the past, just based on their roster and a couple of additions that they have. You know, I really like there's a minor.
Yeah, they picked up a couple guys that we've seen out here, you know, Corey Jones, Timmy Roberts, Evan Manners, and then Keys we've seen most recently. So, yeah, they have a lot more experience than they did after the demolishment of the Superstar roster after the second event of last year.
Yeah, a lot of roster mix-ups, to be completely honest.
It's been crazy.
Yeah, it sure has. And this field is interesting. This field's certainly an equalizer, as you saw with the Ironman game and the Aftermath game. I mean, those guys, everybody was playing, like, there were a lot of close matches in NRG's game. And
absolutely.
And not the Hurricanes, the
Bears?
The Notorious guys.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Notorious guys.
Notorious, 2 1-point losses.
I know.
Yeah, so right now, Infamous taking good ground. They're in Snake 1. Also, Nate Schrader into Dorito 3. Callie Rudolph's at the wedge. And another buddy coming off right now for the Saints. So in pretty solid control here. Infamous is going to get Callie Rudolph to come up to the brick. It's actually going to go past the 50. Trying to find these last bodies is... I think that's Keys moving across here. Is Callie Rudolph's going to commit? I
think Keys was in the Dorito corner. Got pulled out on that penalty.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's definitely not Keys. So nice work here for Infamous. Still looks like 3 bodies alive to finish this one off.
Yeah. So yeah, Maddie, tomorrow I'm going to need you to, as soon as you're done commentating for your lunch break, you don't get to eat any snacks tomorrow. You're going to have to come straight over to the VIP tent. We've got the Hall of Icons ceremony, the induction ceremony. I actually have. You know, I just accidentally, I was just going to grab some of these things to show everybody what they look like, and I accidentally grabbed yours.
Oh, sweet.
No surprise that you are a first-round induction. So you can open that jacket up and show everybody, get a little sneak peek. So we've got 20 players, past players, all retired, who are part of the first round of induction here. You get a little plaque. Thanks, James from Island Designs, for helping me on this one. There you go, Maddie Marshall.
Oh, wow, look
Hopefully
at that.
Hopefully spelled your name wrong, right?
Yeah, he nailed it. Two T's and 2 L's.
Names on the jacket on the inside pocket as well.
So it's a Hormesis, just a beautiful jacket here. It says Paintball Hall of Icons on it with the crown. Beautiful. Yeah, this is awesome, man.
Yeah, thanks.
This is a special thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Coconut buttons too. That was a big thing. Big sell from Oliver.
Oh,
yeah,
wow,
very big thing. You don't get coconut buttons a lot on many garments these days.
I like it. So jumping back in here at point number 2, Tampa Bay Damage up by 1, and they're going to be first to strike. NRG Elite taking the walk, and an aggressive breakout here for Tampa Bay as they take Snake 1, and also get a body here into the wedge. And I think that might be Markey. Markey played actually pretty well in their first game. Not a lot of points played, only 4 points played in Damage's first match. They won that one 3-1. Ooh, minor penalty going to be assessed. It's going to pull out Chad and Waring. So no one on that D side at all. So they went heavy Snake. They're going to need them. There's going to somebody, either Keith, Markey, or I think it's Rainey behind them, going to have to step up.
Well, yeah, if you got Rainey in that corner, the game is never over on that sense. You know, and what the NRG guys need to do is they need to identify that they have shot out that entire Dorito side and try to get a body out there to kind of widen the gap. Now you have Keith Brown locking off the move, and if you see a lot of players from the Snake 1 position here on the kind of the center left of your screen, you'll see Keith Brown shooting inside. What he's doing is he's locking off the move to the big Dorito 2 or the Dorito 3 over on that side.
Yeah, a lot of guys, particularly more in the morning, but we were seeing a ton of dudes getting chewed up trying to get from D2 to D3, thinking the coast was clear and just running into streams.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's kind of like counterintuitive, right? You get into the Snake and you want to be the guy that's going in there and you know, butting heads and getting kills, but you kind of have such a huge zone on that inside to lock down.
Yeah, you have to do double duty as a first Snake attacker in here. This is not a Bloody Knuckles type Snake. Occasionally we'll get to that, but you have to be multifaceted as a first or a second attacker. The wedge is so crucial. That inside wedge structure is fundamental to the success on this specific layout because it is a portal to get to the bricks, to readjust, to get back into the Snake. I mean, you can go anywhere essentially from that structure. So you see Markey do a little tactical retreat, try to set a trap for Trawick, and Keith Brown also looking inside still, waiting for someone to try to make that move. Trawick does make his move to get to the brick here for NRG Elite.
Yeah, and one of the things is identifying where Rainey is, right? Or actually, I'm sure they know where Rainey is. I don't think that NRG knows where the third body, which is up in the middle, whoever the damage player is in the center. Ooh, and NRG just lost another body. And this is what it comes down to, right, is no mistake paintball. I think that's going to be the big ticket here moving forward into Sunday. And honestly, you've kind of seen it, and I heard you guys mentioning it today, is like you're seeing Sunday paintball today.
Yeah, for sure.
And the reason for that is because you cannot afford to make a mistake. If you make a mistake and go down, it's so easy to slow this field down, but you got to really calculate every single gunfight that you get into.
Well, and it's paintball, right? High level paintball, best in the business. But so mistakes are going to be made. I definitely agree with you. As you know, we saw some of the better teams out here. I mean, New York Extreme played really well today, and they did not make many mistakes. And when they did, it cost them. You know, and that was the only points essentially scored on them. But you can save points out here. But if your teammate makes a mistake, that means now it's on you. You have to step up and play extra good to take over for that mistake. But a lot of it is coming down to what's happening in these situations. You know, so we had the penalty assessed on damage, which put him in a bad spot with just 3 bodies over here towards the Snake side. But NRG, didn't really have much of a punch on the D side, and then lost Trawick trying to do something over here. So now the tables have turned slightly. Damage is in the driver's seat with the positions that they have, and there's only 2 bodies left alive for NRG Elite on that red side. They got the can and the back corner bunker Snake side. Yeah,
and I think a big flop on this was NRG not pushing out to that Dorito side to spread the field a little bit more. And then obviously the player moving up into that big brick and trying to do it himself.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to find is the second you begin to try to do it yourself, you start to make those mistakes and get dinked out. And now it's a 3-on-3 game.
Yeah. So there is actually 3 bodies left alive for NRG Elite. The other body there, when we went to our eye in the sky, kind of blocked out from that tower. So yeah, there's a body at the insert bunker Snake side and the tower here for NRG, and then the can. But Damage still has all their bodies on the Snake side. So the farthest body out towards the D side is at the can for NRG Elite, and he's completely focused on trying to keep Keith Brown honest over here.
Yeah, and well, actually, and now what's happening right now is Keith Brown is locking off that entire Dorito side from here. Now he can see all of the movement into there. So look for a move right here into this wedge, bunkering Keith out is the way to Oh, look at that. And see, finally he decides to move out to the NRG Elite player, tries to move out to the Dorito corner and gets chewed up by Keith.
God, zone
Keith
control,
literally
so
just
important.
moved there.
Yeah.
You know, he just moved there. You had the whole entire match point, rather, to get out to that corner, and that's when you decided to go. So Keith might try to make a move here. What should happen here is understanding the cross that NRG Elite has. So there's a player in the brick right behind him. NRG's looking on that outside right there. What he needs to do is kind of bust himself. Let everybody know that he's there. And what's going to happen is Keith might try to come get him. You want to bait him to go. And then there's, you know, just out of camera length, we might be able to see him just to the right of the camera. There's a player for NRG in the brick watching that inside route. So they've got a nice cross. It's just, you know,
the crosses,
the
crosses are huge out here. This is a tactical field. This is not a bloody knuckle smash mouth type paintball field.
Absolutely.
You have to be intelligent. You have to be able to counterpunch. Counterpunches don't always work out though, but it's a little bit of a slower field, but interesting how the plays in the middle of these points have been developing. And right now you have a 3-on-2 situation in favor of Tampa Bay. They also have a 1-point lead, so it is going to be up to NRG Elite try to make something happen, and there goes the move. Comes through and shoots out Keith, but it trades the body, so now it turns into a 1-on-2, and then quickly they get the kill there on the last player for NRG Elite, and now Tampa Bay is they need to just concede this point. I don't know why they're conceding the point. Marcus had some good spins out here. Tampa Bay hasn't played a lot of points, but he's done very well as the body going into that wedge structure, which is arguably, I don't think he's the most important, but it is up there.
Right. It's good to see him out here. I like that they got him on the squad.
Yeah, former
Rage
came
player.
up as a kid with Miami Rage. Yeah, I remember he was God, he used to talk so much smack back in the day when he was, you know, a $120 soaking wet. Now he's a grown man. He's no longer a $120 soaking wet, that's for sure. He definitely grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marky's great. So yeah, Tampa Bay looking pretty solid here. 2-point lead. There's Keith Brown also playing really well. And Tampa Bay really not making a lot of mistakes. They gave up a point to Uprising, but kind of like you were saying, Ryan, is that they're playing relatively fumble-free paintball. There's somebody, but the key thing is that, you know, look, a couple of people can get shot here or there, but it's who picks up after that, right? What move do you make to counteract that deficiency you have in your line? So yeah, Damage looks pretty strong. This is a layout that, you know, teams like Dynasty, like Damage. I'm interested to see Heat and X Factor play out here on this layout because this could bode well for them too, but it is a bit, like you said, of an equalizer. I mean, because of not that many points are going to be played, and so when you don't have as many instances to play, if you're the team that's the underdog, you still have a chance.
Oh, you have a much better chance.
Yeah.
You have a much better chance on a field where you can put up 1 for every 3 points than you do on a field that only scores 3 or 4 points.
The highest point total that any team put up in the morning bracket was 5. They scored. The Bears scored 5 against the ML Kings, and there was only 6 points total scored in that entire match.
Yeah. So, and I do expect it to go a little bit faster with the addition of this little this little nugget here. Call it
little nugget, little cake.
Nug. The cake here on this side, because I do believe that this is an unexploited spot on this side. Ooh, Infamous losing the first gunfight. Heads up. Who was that? That was
I think it was Ben Challenger.
Ben Challenger.
Yeah, so Challenger goes into that crucial wedge structure, loses his gunfight. Jonah Jamroads had taken some ground with his speed early to get to the wedge outside here, Snake 1, but that's it over here as far as penetration is concerned. Does have a body behind him, though.
Yeah, it's still a 4-on-5, right?
Saints were pretty pocketed up until just now when they got a body out into...
No, Saints are over on that Dorito 1 or Dorito 2. I'm not sure what you call the first big one.
A D2. Yeah.
D2. Okay, so D2, they've got Saints over there. They definitely were not wide over here on the Snake side, but you know, as he's making this move across, he's just kind of checking off that inside move.
He's so tucked in, though, looking down that sideline that we didn't really see him peek his head out and look over here towards the Snake side.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of this, though. A lot of pod throwing attempts. No one has bid on it yet. But,
here's the thing.
It's been attempted 5 or 6 times so far this morning.
Yeah, I mean, you guys just keep putting that replay up from Event 1 last year. I wish every time that happens. So first of all, I want to point out that that's a play that we came up with. That was like a Rusty Glaze BKI what to do with your pods trick. And then after I do it, he got me. But I win the MVP. You should like after that happens, I should be holding up the damn golden barrel.
So we should put like a lower third up that says,
yeah, don't worry
Ryan
about this one.
Yeah. MVP, suckered into the trap.
Suckered into the trap. Like, all right, I'll take it.
Don't worry, everyone. He redeemed himself by winning the MVP for the whole tournament.
Yeah, and here's the thing about the pod trick. I mean, I want people to keep doing it, so it might work one of these times. But this is not one of those positions where you need to come flying down the field and crash into that spot. a lot of the pro players have good body control, whereas if it's a spot that you can see directly in the middle from either side and someone has to sprint from this big wide open spot and come crashing into it, then that's the case. I just think that everybody has way too good at body control.
Ooh. Infamous digging out to try to get back corner bunker snake side, and they do, but slowly but surely the Saints have been taking ground here, Ryan, as they're into D3, D4, and have basically all their bodies at the 40-yard lines right now.
Yeah, Jonah missed that shot on the Dorito 3. I don't know if he should be fighting right there. Ooh, big backfill from, I believe, Alex Keys.
Yeah, so Keys digs out, makes it alive to the back corner bunker D side to give his front players a little bit more support. They're now also at the 50-yard line here on the snake side and still at that wedge. So this is a real good crossfield spread for the Saints to see if they can make the most of it. Infamous now playing on their heels.
And where are Infamous's bodies? Do they only have 3 players alive right now?
They got a back corner bunker snake side, D2, and then Jonah here in snake 1, and that might be it.
Yeah, I think he just threw a pod over at Jonah, which is funny because this field you shoot a lot of paint on. So you need your paint, first of all. The last thing you want to be doing is throwing multiple pods at the bad guys. Ooh.
It hasn't just, and again, for everyone, it has not worked yet. Now, not to say it's not going to work, but it hasn't worked yet. Oh, Jonah getting clipped.
Yeah. They just shot out the corner guy, and that was the pivotal kill, was the corner player.
Latin Saints about to tie this one up here against Infamous. So, you know, Infamous losing Harrison Fry and Cody Minkowski in the offseason. They picked up a couple bodies, but the question for Infamous is, you know, losing Greg Sewers 2 years ago and then losing Harrison this year, those were 2 of their big elite offensive threats, and they have an awesome roster full of talent, but who is going to emerge as that elite offensive threat, right? Somebody's got to step up and fill those shoes.
Right.
And so that's kind of what Travis and the coaching staff and the vets on that squad kind of asking some of these younger players, some of the guys they picked up. It's like, all right, well, you guys, a couple of you need to become elite here if we want to win tournaments.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they have it. They have the guys. It's just, you know, a couple of those players were coming off of different programs where they were playing under a different type of mentality. You know what I mean? And I think that changes a lot of the perspective, and you just kind of have to get into the system.
Yeah, it's just it takes time, man. It
takes time.
It's difficult to do, and it takes time.
It is really difficult to win paintball matches, points, tournaments, all the above out here these days. It's incredibly difficult. Everybody's putting in the extra time. Everybody's doing the harder work, you know, and it's just the gap is getting smaller and smaller. I mean, even the lower, you know, tiered teams are putting up points and making it super difficult on every single player out there. And, you know, this bracket, especially the Latin Saints Infamous bracket with us and Russians, is not an easy bracket.
Yeah, it's Bracket A, Dynasty, X Factor, Legion, Infamous, and Saints. Bracket B, I think, might be the bracket of death. You never really know. But,
oh, really?
But Heat, Revo, Hurricanes, and then Diesel. You know, the fact that Diesel's down as the 4th-ranked team in that bracket with the roster that Mark Johnson put together in the offseason, and then Ironman just beat Diesel. And Ironman are the last-ranked team in that bracket.
Yeah.
So it's getting really interesting in that Bracket B.
That shakes things up substantially.
But yeah, I mean, I think most of the people that I've talked to and asked what their thoughts were is everyone kind of the consensus is that Bracket A and Bracket B are the toughest brackets out here.
Yeah, I agree with that, you know. And obviously you look at the bracket, and when it first came out, Jason Trozen texted me and goes, this might be the hardest bracket ever.
But these are the 20 best paintball teams on planet Earth, so this is kind of how it works out here, and anyone can beat anyone. And we saw last year, even though DMG did get relegated, they made Sunday at World Cup. It just wasn't enough. And so every single one of the 20 teams made Sunday last year. That's how competitive it's getting.
Yeah, and World Cup, like, you know, the teams obviously showed up to play out there. You know, all those teams that everybody's like had written off made it. So definitely a really competitive group, and I'm liking what I'm seeing.
So 2-0 the score here with just 2 minutes left to go. So we've only 2 points have been scored, and there's only 2 minutes left. So it's going to be up to NRG Elite to really start pushing the issue. But Ryan, if you look at it right now, knowing they need 2 just to tie, and they did drop their first game by, I believe, 2. Definitely need to make an attempt here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're postured to try to make those moves, and in the places the field position that they took doesn't also seem like it. You know, they've got 3 guys in a hold position, kind of locking off. One guy's locking off the Doritos, one guy's locking off the snake side. You got one guy up in the middle, one in the and one in the snake corner, and then you have the lone kind of, I would call, the only guy who even took some big ground on the Dorito one over there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's certainly not the strongest field setup, being down by 2 with a minute left.
Yeah, and again, like you said, postured up, right? You look at their body language, and other than maybe D1 and the wedge who's on his feet, no one else is looking like they want to make a move right now.
Yeah, and look, honestly, at this point, you've got 1 minute left, I think 1:05. You just need to go, okay, well, whatever our game plan was, that wasn't the right choice, and we just need to not make any mistakes and go down by 2 and have a -4 going in tomorrow.
Yeah.
And hopefully we win 2 games plus 2 and go in even. I don't know. I just don't know what the game plan is from the coach.
Yeah, it's just looking like just no intent to play offense here. And but maybe they're concerned about spread. Maybe at this point they're like, you know what, let's take the 2-point loss, like you just said. Go in at 0-2 with a -4. Hope we win 2 tomorrow. You need to go 2-2 typically with around thought I heard a concession horn for a second.
I did too.
But yeah, I mean, typically you need to go 2-2 with about a +1, +2 to have the best chance of making it to Sunday. Top 10 teams move on.
Yeah,
but then you're going to be stuck in that wild card round if you do that. Or at least you made it Sunday. And Damage is playing some damage ball. Take a lead, play defense. Take a lead, take some ground, play defense.
Yeah, they kind of just, NRG put together a package to go on offense at 30 seconds, which I get that. But then they just kind of didn't really put it together. I would have tried to go score a point early and then leave my back 3 guys to really hold it off and hope that we get it done with 2 or 3 guys and then the rest can hold it off and we don't go down by an extra, but who knows.
Well, if you look at it, okay, so it went in they needed about a minute a point, down by 2, and came with not an offensive game plan and then didn't really want to move forward. So they ended up taking the loss by 2. If they had gone with a hyper-aggressive game plan and it doesn't work out, then now you're going to be down by 3 and kind of in, even in a worse spot for the tournament itself than they would have been coming out with this game.
Yeah,
it's tough to look at it that way.
But yeah, you do have another full day, and you watch game footage and you try to figure out what did and did not work.
Well, different story here is there's still 8:30 left in this match. So we're going to have 2 minutes in between points if this one doesn't go insanely long. But right now, body dropping, 2 bodies actually dropping for the Saints, and I didn't see anyone walk off for Infamous. So it's a 5-on-3 situation.
And Infamous made a big run up into that center 50, and you can see him looking this way. But Saints really like this move. So look at your screen right now playing heads up here. And I don't know if he has any idea that there's a player directly to his inside. I would assume that he does, but he might get shot right here. Can't quite tell.
Infamous starting to stack bodies up on the Snake side to get Cali out wide, and I think this is Patient going to try to make his move into Snake 1.
Ooh, minor penalty for Latin Saints on Alex Keys. So now it's a 5-on-1. And watch this. Let's get a close-up, tight shot on the guy in the wedge if we can, because this is going to be a devastating look.
Oh, they're going to save him the pain.
Look at that. That's where the shot I was looking. Thank you, production crew. Look at him. Look at how bummed he is.
Patient was like, oh, man, that was going to be a fun one. So Infamous now going to go up by 1, and, yeah, 2 minutes in between points. So now we have a little bit of time. So talk to me a little bit more about the Holo Icons. Where was the where did it start, and how do we get to where we're at right now?
Yeah, so Paintball doesn't really have an official hall of what would be considered a Hall of Fame. Now there is a Hall of Fame of some sorts that kind of inducts some random people throughout the history, but we don't have a true professional Paintball Hall of Fame. So I went with Hall of Icons just because obviously Hall of Fame was taken, and this was kind of born, and it's an interesting story down in Australia about 6-7 years ago. Tim Montresor and I were talking about this exact thing. We're like, there really needs to be something that honors the players who really paved the way, right? Like yourself, guys like Billy Saransky, Bob Long, all these types of guys who are iconic players and famous players in our history that transitioned the sport from out of the woods into hyperball, and then we're able to kind of compete against along that greatness and that just transition.
Yeah.
So we were talking about it. We were both too busy. We decided, and then about a year and a half ago, I go, you know what? This actually should happen. This is kind of the time. We need to grow paintball. We need to legitimize the sport as much as we possibly can. So let's do this. So I just kind of launched it. I grabbed a big list of players, and then I created a voting board. Not to oust everybody, you're on the voting board as well. I believe there's a 10 other players who are very recognizable, very well known in the industry, are all on the voting panel. And then we just send them a list of 100, 150 players.
Well, but it's the way that was done is kind of cool, because you essentially have these people that have been around and seen a lot for sometimes 3-4 decades for some of them, and that have watched enough paintball, played it enough, and been around the industry enough to see who really does deserve to be in this. Because anytime that I've been, because people had approached me with, Hall of Fame this and Hall of Fame that, and no, I'm not taking anything away from like some of the industry guys or this and that, but to me it needed to be a mixture of, but it would need to be like player centric,
Absolutely, and that's what it is. It's not for somebody who invented a cool product.
Yeah.
It's not for somebody who who hosts a cool event. It is literally going to recognize the players who came in, around, and for us. Oh, another penalty going up on the Latin Saints. They just need to not get these penalties. And then
running into a gun. Well, he saw, I think he was going to get pulled, so he just ran chest up, gunned up into a lane.
Infamous letting number 4 have it. So Infamous putting up a quick point there. Going to that 50 brick twice now in a row. It seems to be pretty successful for Infamous. But yeah, Maddie, and it needs to be player centric, like you said. And a lot of great players. Everybody who made, and what we did is we inducted 20 players on this round. We were supposed to do the ceremony in World Cup last year. Little hurricane kind of threw up the schedule.
Hurricane ruined it.
So this time we're doing it. We decided to do it in the VIP tent just in case there is rain. we have good. Plus, we don't want you guys to be baking in these jackets up on the main stage tomorrow. So
it's a hardy jacket.
It is. Yeah, this thing is going to last forever. You could play in this thing. You could go out in it. You can do whatever you want in this jacket. You can dry yourself off. I believe you can probably repel from a
Use it to get somebody out of castle.
Yeah, exactly. Sling it over your shoulder. So many uses here for this Hormesis jacket. So I do appreciate that. We had Clint Riddle do a bunch of artwork. So I've got some sticker sheets and some banners that we have up there. Quinn from Iconic helped me write up some of the bios, and Alex and I will be going through the list of the 20 players. And then as soon as this one's over, I'm going to send out the list again with some new additions to the list, and you guys are going to be voting again. And we're going to do it, I believe, next year there's going to be an NXL awards ceremony hosted in Vegas, which they're going to maybe possibly allegedly tie together with a sort of extravaganza type esque event
in development.
Yes, in development. So if it's not at World Cup this year, then it'll be there next year, and I plan to do it every year. Every year we're going to induct about 10 players.
I think it's awesome. It's one of those things that needed to be done, and somebody finally pulled the trigger on it and did it the right way. So I appreciate the hard work, because we all know how it's.
Yeah.
Ideas are one thing. Execution is the most important thing.
I've got a ton of great ideas, and then I was like, wait, hold on, I got to do all that. But no, I'm glad that it's coming together in the way it is. Adam Gardner's flying out for it, and what's crazy is I sent emails to every single player on the list, 20 players. I even got an email back from Bob Long telling me that he was going to try to come to World Cup last year. So I almost got him out here.
Good old Bob Long. So jumping back into this next point, Infamous with a 2-point lead. Still a decent amount of time, because these last couple points have gone pretty quick and in favor of Infamous. They're going to take some ground, send to Thomas Taylor, who's always fresh off of some injury. And Thomas Taylor just had hernia surgery, I feel like a month ago, but he's back out there yet again. Thomas still getting it done after all these years. And Infamous is again loading up on the snake side, so not scared to take ground. Really starting to feel it. Yeah. Looking pretty good out here for Los Angeles Infamous.
I mean, I feel like I saw Thomas play an event, and his finger was bent back the other direction, like completely sideways, and he was like, "Nah, it's all right. I just popped it back in," and like his ankle was crooked. Like he definitely, like
he's
you said,
a warrior.
He plays through a lot of injuries, so a little hernia surgery is no biggie for him.
Yeah, he'd actually got the hernia at World Cup last year and didn't tell anyone about it. But he had, if anyone's had a hernia, you have to like push your intestines back into through your stomach wall. So that was kind of rough for him, but he's got it fixed. He's out there playing. Infamous looking strong. Good crossfield spread here. Really just kind of need to control the zones and try to burn clock off right now, but they get the kill crossfield as Latin Saints playing aggressive. They took some ground on that D side, but got shot out of that spot, and also Latin Saints have taken a decent amount of ground here snake side as well, too.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, man, that Latin Saints player got up into D4, got way up there, was doing some damage, but he was playing like it was a 5-on-1, so, body dropping over here.
It's Nate Schrader.
But yeah, he was playing so loose in that thing. Of course he got shot, Playing like there was nobody over there. So Latin Saints still making moves over on that Dorito side. It looks, I feel like Infamous only, okay, so Infamous does have 4 bodies still, 4-on-4.
Yeah, they got Thomas Taylor still at that wedge structure, but he backed up a bit. And then Jamrose is still over here in the insert bunker snake side. He's been focusing his gun towards that D side. Joe Barrett, new on Infamous this year, coming over from Aftermath. He's in the back spot. Thomas is going to move up.
Ooh, and Latin Saints doubling up this 50 brick.
Latin Saints doubling up the 50 brick, and also Ryan diving a body into D4 as well
again.
too.
Back in D4. So, and then Alex Keys fills out to that Dorito corner and is coming up the field, kind of meandering up on that side of the field, trying to get a shot on this Dorito side wedge. Dorito side wedge seems to be. Ooh.
Oh, looks
bad
like
move.
Yeah, trying to get across the 50 and crawling along, but ends up getting taken out. Now Thomas Taylor's going to launch a little counterattack. How many bodies are coming off? Looking like one, maybe two. Little two-pack, possibly three here for Thomas Taylor. And it looks like just maybe one body left alive for the Latin Saints in D4 after Thomas comes through like a wrecking ball. Yeah, and we have $1,000 that we're giving out again for move of the prelims, courtesy of the Smith family.
Wow.
Mary Catherine and Pate Smith family, and $1,500 for Sunday too. We've seen some pretty good moves out here. That was a really nice move from Thomas. Possible coffin nail in this situation. Only up by 2 with 4 minutes left to go. Runs through and kind of blows everything open. Jamro's trying to finish it off.
I don't like the idea of running backwards when you're down on bodies like that and down on time. You go forward and try to end it a little sooner than that. You don't ever like sneak up on guys by retreating 5 spots.
Yeah, Jonah was, where is he going? Yeah. All right, well.
He like saw his whole back.
You're just going to die tired, bro.
Yeah, you saw his whole back and didn't shoot at him. I was like, okay. Interesting move. Maybe he thought he was dead for a second, but.
So in the pits right now with LA Infamous and.
Yeah, big win here. And I would say that Latin Saints had the ball there. They really had it. They just weren't getting that information on where Thomas was. And when the Latin Saints player dove in onto their side of the field and Thomas saw him, he kind of put his gun up thinking he was going to get bunkered. He should have snuck right into there and made Thomas come to get him. I believe it probably would have been the same outcome. Or he should have shared with his teammate, hey, I'm going to go onto their side. And I think that could have alleviated that death and Thomas's subsequent run-through at that point. Say, hey, I'm going to go into their side, look this way.
Yeah, so this is a good look, though, for Infamous here in their first match. They got one more against X Factor. And, look, I mean, the Saints have been doing a pretty decent job of trying to keep somewhat of, a competitive roster out there, going after some guys that have been out in this pro division before. I mean, Greg, their owner, has been trying as hard as he can. But Infamous looking pretty solid right now. And then we're going to see Heat up next against the New Orleans Hurricanes. Revo will be taking the field against AC Diesel, who dropped their first game, in case you're just tuning in, against the Ironmen. And then we're going to see Dynasty take on Legion. Legion going through a little bit of a rebuild. Also X Factor and Infamous in that set. And a little bit different look for you guys this year. You guys did lose Dalton, but you went out and got Chris Shearer and Harrison Fry. So you took the elite attacker off of Infamous and the elite attacker off of Revo.
Yeah.
So, and then love what Tom Ford is doing with Revo. He was going after guys too. It's getting really interesting behind the scenes.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm good friends with Tom, and he's asking me the whole offseason, like, who should I get? I need some help with this and that. And I was kind of helping him out, and then we lost Dalton. And then I'm like, hey, man, look, dude.
Sorry to break it to you.
I called him, and I go, hey, Tom, how you doing? He's like, great, man. Too bad you lost Dalton. I'm really sorry about that. What do you think about this player and this player? I was going to do this. And I go, all right, hold on. That's not what this call's about. Just wanted to let you know. We're going to take Chris.
We're stealing Chris Shearer, bro. Sorry.
But yeah, I do like those other names that you just dropped in the hat, and you're gonna need one more to fill that roster up. I'm really sorry. And so he talked to Chris, and Chris was like, all right, let me talk. He's like, let me talk to him real quick. Because Chris is, they explained it, they talked it over, and Tom was like, you know what, it's a good fit. Chris is a really good guy, and it was very transparent. I called Tom first. Tom was like, yep, all right.
I think if it was anyone but, because I remember talking to Henry Sense, who, leads on Revo. I was like, hey, you need to button up Chris Shearer, make sure you don't lose him. He's like, no, he's going to stay with, Chris, it's a good vibe. And I was like, okay, cool. And he's a lawyer. It's not like he needs the money, right? But, so that's what I'm saying. If it was any other team other than San Diego Dynasty calling him up, probably would have said no. But when you get that call from Dynasty, it's really hard to say no to the most legendary team that's ever existed.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Which is a good thing because
Yes.
you're not Daddy Warbucks with the unlimited war chest of fun. So
we're working on it. DynastyPaintball.com. You can support Dynasty and
join their club.
Yeah, join the Champions Club. Well, the Champions Club renews this month. Actually, we're sending out some more gifts.
I think there's still a wait list, but so yeah, right now Infamous still just leading the charge here, up by 3 with just 3:26 to go. I do like that the Saints are trying. I mean, they're trying to take ground. They're trying to make moves. They are attacking, but Infamous just holding the line nicely, taking some ground of their own, shooting good lanes. Another body coming off right now for the Saints.
2 more bodies. Yeah, it's curtains for the Saints. They're going to go down with a big point spread here. But, yeah, and then losing this one. So I'm not sure what they're going to blow the horn. You know, and actually, honestly, I do believe that blowing the horn for the Saints is good. I know it hurts their point margin, but in the bracket that they're in, I think they just need to put up as many points, get as much experience as they possibly can. And what it's going to do is you just kind of, make this match a wash, but hopefully get enough practice on the layout that you're going to be able to do a little bit better in the next couple matches. Hopefully not against Dynasty, but...
Yeah, and as we're looking here in the Saints, again, this is Dynasty's bracket. So it's Dynasty sitting top tier in bracket A, X Factor, Legion, Infamous, and the Saints. And if you're just tuning in, that's one of the harder brackets out here. Bracket B, though, arguably a little more difficult with Diesel locking up. Diesel ranked 4th overall in that bracket because of how they kind of finished the year. I think it took 17th at World Cup. But Heat, Revo, Hurricanes, and Diesel, and the Ironman. And the Ironman just beat Diesel. So that bracket is getting very interesting.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how the next couple matches go. And, I mean, and here's the other thing. Being Revo playing Diesel on this match, Diesel's already warmed up.
Yeah.
They know where they made the mistakes.
And pissed off.
And pissed off. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. You got a very angry and frustrated Diesel who just dropped a game to the Ironmen, which on paper that's the team that they need to beat, considering that the Ironmen are the lowest ranked team. You always want to beat that lower ranked team, especially if, in that situation when you're loading up with these superstars. But we have to give Diesel the benefit of the doubt, man. It's going to take, even though those guys have played together before, but it's a new system that Mark Johnson's created, and it's just going to take time. How much time? Is it one game? Is it one tournament? Is it, who knows? But
and at the same time, you need to give Ironman some major props on that.
Absolutely.
They shot 2 guys off the break in that overtime point. And I do believe they had a little bit of a chance to make a move prior to overtime going in. But yeah, guys really stepping up. Trent Nita had a really great point on that Dorito side on that overtime point.
Yeah, they got some contributions from a decent amount of bodies. That's what it's going to take to beat a big high-powered team like Diesel. So right now, Saints down by 4. This is equal to the most points we've seen in a game so far today.
Okay, there we go.
5-1 was the final score of the Bears-ML Kings match, bright and early at 7:20 this morning.
Well, yeah, and then the other thing that you're looking at is when a team gets, I think the Saints have gotten 3 minors. So when you're getting multiple minors in a match, that's really gonna put that play on you. Oh, and look at Alex Keys being the #1 on that Dorito side right now. Is that Alex? Actually, they're all wearing these orange goggles. So at first I thought that was him, but I do believe
it's a new year. Welcome to my world here, Ryan. Just trying to figure out some of these guys are, especially on a team like the Saints, continuing to rebuild the roster.
Yeah, multiple rebuilds. At least they got numbers on the back here.
Yeah, a little bit easier on Infamous, but. So yeah, Joe Barrett, speaking of new players, new on the squad here for Infamous. He's in a good spot, and they're just with a big lead right now. This would be a really nice win for Infamous. Saints sitting bottom of the barrel in this bracket. This is a must-win situation for Infamous, and ideally put up as many points as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Sitting at a comfy 4-point spread right now.
That's huge. That's huge on this type of layout for that. If anything goes badly in the rest of the day or the rest of the weekend, you have a good point margin for that wild card spot, and that's what's really gonna take it. Because we just watched that NRG Elite. They went down with a -4.
Yeah.
So that's a horrible way to start when you see a team get a +4 in their first match.
Absolutely. So Infamous just going to be content to roll guns, but they do try to get Brussel back into D3, and it looks like he got picked off trying to make that move. Not
a necessary move. Bad move, actually. You don't need to do that, and
yeah, Tim didn't need to make that move. Must have saw something, but that's that gap of death. Trying to get to D3 when you have players up the field a little bit, there's always a lot of paint getting pumped through that lane.
So here comes, we're at 60 seconds right now, so we can look to definitely see, it's a 5-on-3. I believe it's back center. One player on the Snake side, and this guy right here, Alex Keys, goes up and trades out with the center player. Is that Joe Barrett right there?
Yeah, that's Barrett.
Yeah. So, but look at this. 2 players walking off for Latin Saints, one getting checked. I don't know. I can't see any of the bodies for him.
I think it might be back center. Yeah, I think there might only be back center. You can see their top left-hand portion of your screen.
Yeah.
Possibly back right. No, it's
hold on. Oh yeah, no, Snake corner. Snake corner, back center.
They're just tucked in like as tight as they possibly can.
If the Snake corner comes over the top, he's gonna destroy this kid. Oh, look.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening right now.
When you're in a cross, penalty probably going to be assessed.
No.
Oh no, he's good to go. Thought for a second.
I thought he was giving
I thought he was the hey, you're gone.
The thumbs up, you're gone move right there.
Yeah, so just these 2 bodies dug in tightly with just 5 seconds left to go.
What is he doing?
I don't know. What he just went through and stopped with like a 3 seconds left, and he had his back. It looked like. I don't know. I mean,
can we get a replay on that?
He could have potentially come down, just
do we need
diced him up, and then dove over and at least put another point on the board here to make the spread a little bit more decent.
Why do you not shoot somebody in the back?
Maybe he heard a horn and thought that the game was already over, and that's why he didn't.
That's so strange. I heard a horn too. And I looked at the clock and it said 5 seconds. So maybe, but then I heard the horn while he was standing there looking at his back.
I thought the same exact thing, and we don't have a field close to us here. I mean, there's the 10-man field over there, and that's it. Played. There is no other field close to this.
I'm hearing stuff in my monitor.
I heard a horn. I heard a horn too.
Yeah, there was a horn. It wasn't our horn. I mean, the closest field is 300 feet away, 500 feet away.
I know.
So I'm going to turn those buzzers down a little bit. I would love to ask what that.
They must be busting eardrums out there. Well, that's going to do it here for this set. Tampa Bay Damage, if you forgot, took the victory a while ago against NRG Elite. And then now Infamous is going to take a pretty sizable victory here against the Latin Saints, especially the way that this field's playing. We got Heat Hurricanes, Revo, and AC Diesel coming up next. It's going to be a big set. Can't wait to see Ryan Greenspan and San Diego Dynasty throw down. It's going to be 3:05 here Eastern Time against Legion. And also check out the Hall of Icons. We got the got that going down tomorrow during the lunch break.
Tomorrow lunch break around 12:20 p.m. I think we're going to do it live here on Go Sports.
Can't wait for it. It's going to be super fun. And again, thank you so much for all the effort that you've been putting in on that. So we're going to be back here 2023 NXL Sunshine State Major. I'm Matty Marshall here on Go Sports. See you in a few.
Thanks, guys.